Now we're going to come into this way of working in Pavarita. We have done this before, and I'm going to use the back of a chair. However, you may not have the back of a chair to use, and it might be that you can do this to the seat of the back of a sofa, to a tabletop. You can see that the chair could be doing with being a bit higher, to be honest, but it should be at about the same height as the top of your legs. All right, so where you're working to. So I'll just show how we're going to work here. The left foot turns out, right foot steps forwards. We level the pelvis, hinge forwards, and take the hands onto whatever you're using. So it might be that it's a mantelpiece or a window ledge, something like that, so that you can just start to get this opening in the upper back. You can possibly see that I'm just moving that upper back in. Okay, so hopefully you've got yourself sorted with an appropriate support. Hands on the hips, stand towards the back of your mat, turn your left foot out slightly and step forwards with your right foot. Now, when we do that, the pelvis will tend to swing to the left. So we've got to redirect it back towards the front. This left femur head should be in line with the right femur head, which you can't see because So this is what tends to happen, and we have to swing those back to the center so that these outer femur heads are in line with one another. So from there, you're going to hinge at the hips and take your hands to the back bar of a chair. Now, it may well be that you need to adjust either the support that you're coming to or your body in order to straighten the arms and get this nice length and extension through the spinal column. So adjust if you need to. Maybe move yourself back, maybe move your support back. Now extend the breastbone, draw your shoulder blades down towards your back waist, and just see, can you move your armpits a little closer to the floor? Draw up the front leg, kneecap, thigh muscle, breathe. Okay, slowly coming up, step forwards, and we're going to walk back and go to the other side. So right foot turns out, left foot steps forwards. Now, yes, we turn the pelvis, like I said before, but this gluteal crease on the back leg has got to rotate from the inside to the outside. So the back leg spirals. The soft tissue fibre on that back leg spirals up from the inner ankle to the outer shin to inner knee to outer thigh. So it's going up and up and up till it gets to that gluteal crease region. So from here, hinge forwards, keep drawing back on that front leg, kneecap, thigh muscle, keep that rotational action occurring in the back leg, and keep the pelvis level. Extend back into the back leg heel, work those armpits towards the floor. Draw this front leg, the front leg has got to pull up and the thigh bone has got to pull back into the socket. So it's stronger than we think. All right, and slowly stepping forwards and coming up out of the action. So we're going to do the same kind of action in Uttanasana here. So I'm just going to show, we'll take the feet wide, hinge forwards, hands to the back of the chair, and extending down. So again, you can use back of the sofa, any support that you were using for the previous action will be fine for this. So line the outer edges of the feet with the outer edges of the mat, push down into those outer foot bones, lift through the front of the body, lift the kneecaps, lift the frontal pelvic bones, hinge forwards. So it's as though the tailbone has got a long weight on it, but this area here from the back of the knees all the way up the quadriceps and around this gluteal crease area has got to roll in the opposite direction. So stabilize by hitting down with the tailbone. Tailbone long and heavy. Keep the abdomen lifting towards your spine. Keep the frontal pelvic bones lifting away from your legs. Work the armpits down towards the floor. Don't let the belly drop. Don't let the frontal ribs go. Keep the ears between the arms. Keep the legs lifting really strongly and activate your feet again. Pressing down into the outer edges of the feet. Breathe. Okay, and slowly coming up out of the action. Stand in Tadasana, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back and down. So we're going to come into Gamakasana again. This time we're going to work with the legs, feet together, and you can take your belt if you need it. I'm just going to show from behind. So we're going to start out this time with the lower arm, and we're going to work on really extending, really rotating. Extend, turn. So we're going to do this a few times. Take it up the back and move that shoulder back, and then stretch up and see if we can catch either the fingers or the belt. So anybody who's got shoulder problems, be careful with the lower arm, this rotational action of the lower arm. Maybe you just work with the top arm if your shoulders are not good. Okay. So when you have an injury, you have to look after it, and sometimes you have to modify the poses. Obviously, we can't do that in a pre-recorded session because we don't know who's in front of us. But you have to be mindful of your own body in these. Okay, so feet together, spreading your toes, really strong in the outer foot bones, sharp in the outer foot bones. Lift your inner ankles. So the bones become heavy, the soft tissue fibre lifts up. Tailbone is long and heavy, stretch down with the arms. So extend out with your left arm just below shoulder height, and we're going to turn it. So it's rotating in this shoulder joint. Turn it, turn it, turn it. So keep turning, keep turning, keep turning, and now turn and extend it up your back. So lift your chest and let this area, this upper arm area, become heavy and the elbow weighted as you take your arm further up. Now with this action, move the front of this shoulder so the outer tip of this shoulder moves back, and you may be able to feel that that moves your shoulder blade in. Your left shoulder blade should move in with that action of moving the front of the shoulder back. Then extend up. Really stretch and open and bend, and either catch your fingers or catch your belt. Catching the belt is very good. It's better than just touching the fingers because you get some traction. So you can pull on that belt so that you get some opening in the stiff areas in your shoulders. Breathe through the nostrils and release. Okay, move your belt to the other side if you're using it. Extending out, and one side will be better than the other. So extend out, rotate and turn and turn and turn and turn. Keep rotating. We have to get some life and action, and then turn and swing it up your back. So this area here, from the outer tip of the shoulder to the outer elbow, has to become heavy, as though you've got a weight inside that elbow, pulling that down. And as you do so, creep the hand up your back. Now stretch up with your left arm, open out in that armpit, extend into the fingertips, and then see if you can catch. Now your right shoulder has to move back, and again you might be able to feel an action in your right shoulder blade. Keep your left upper arm close to your left ear. Don't let that drift out to the side. Breathe through the nostrils, weight back into the heel bones, and releasing the arms down. Well done. So we're going to come into a Pavarita action again, but this time, although we're still using the chair, we're coming to the seat of the chair. So it might be that you're going to use a sofa for this. It might be that you can use a kitchen chair, dining chair would be very good. So I'm just going to show. We're going to step forwards, hinge forwards, and come down a little bit lower. And we're working on this rotational action on the back leg with this. Okay, so standing in Tadasana, tailbone long and heavy, chest lifted, roll your shoulders back and down, turn your left foot out slightly. Step forwards with your right foot, putting your hands on your hips, and turn the pelvis. Now at this stage I want you to really push back into your back leg heel bone, move the thigh on that back leg to the thigh bone, so the frontal thigh muscle grips to the thigh bone, but you're getting that spiraling action, inner ankle to outer calf to inner knee to outer thigh, inner thigh to inner groin, so that we're getting this rotational action in the gluteal crease. Lift your chest, draw up your front leg kneecap, lift up your front leg thigh muscle, and lift these frontal pelvic bones up away from your legs. And then keeping the pelvis completely level, drawing back strongly on your right leg, take your hands to the seat of the chair. Now keep that rotational action happening on the back leg. So spiraling round, inner ankle to outer shin. Don't let that turn your foot. Keep the foot slightly angled out and keep the thigh muscle moving to the thigh bone, and your thigh bone on that back leg is pressing back into the back thigh. Extend your collarbones forwards, draw back strongly on your front leg, press down with your big toe mound of your front foot. Coming up, step forwards and walking back. Okay, hands on your hips, right foot out, left foot forwards, turn the pelvis to face towards the chair. So again, get this action, spiraling action on your back leg, so that it brings the weight more and more into that back leg heel, and the heel becomes heavy. That heel bone is anchored into the ground, as though you've got it hammered into the ground. Chest lifting, roll your shoulders back and down, keep your abdomen back towards the spine, keep drawing back strongly on this front leg. Don't let that become short, but keep the spiraling action on the back leg without turning the foot. So you have to keep that foot at a slight angle, but spiral those muscle fibers around the bones. Extend forwards with your chest, with your collarbones. Draw your shoulder blades down towards your back waist. Keep active in the big toe mound, inner heel of the front foot. And breathe. And smile. It's yoga. Okay. And stepping forwards out of the action, standing in Tadasana, extending down with the fingertips. Just re-establish your Tadasana. Fine inhalation, fine exhalation. Okay, so just stand in your Tadasana for a moment and have a quick look at what we're going to do next. So we're coming into the Pavarita Trikonasana action, which is a revolved triangle action, but we're going to use the chair here. So we're coming down again into our Pavarita, which we've just done. The left hand will go where the right hand was. The right hand will come here onto the sacrum, and keeping the action as much as we can in the back leg, in the pelvis, we turn the trunk. Okay, so let's see if we can do that together. So standing in Tadasana, roll the shoulders back and down, stretch down with the arms, turn your left foot out, right foot forwards. Hands on your hips, pelvis turning to the front. Now observe the back leg. Get that rotational action in the back leg. Get the strength and stability in the back leg. When we do this in the classic version, the back leg is often very light and it destabilizes a pose that is easy to destabilize. So we're keeping the outer hips engaged as we come forwards, drawing back on that front leg. See, can you weight down into the back leg heel? If this is difficult, weighting down into the back leg heel, you can always put a foam pad underneath that. That can sometimes help with these Pavarita actions at the start of your yoga journey. So we're going to take the left hand and place it where the right hand was. Your right hand comes here onto the sacrum, which is the big bone at the base of your spine. Now, if you're using a chair, look at the center of the back of the chair. Keep your eyes on that as you start to roll your right shoulder up and back. And don't let this left hip drop forwards. You've got to keep that stabilized and moving back as you turn, as you turn, as you turn. Breathe and releasing, placing the hands down and stepping forwards. So if you didn't quite understand what I meant about the foam pad underneath the back leg heel, I'll just show you. This is only for people whose back leg heel becomes starts to lift off the floor when you start to turn. You can always have a foam pad there so that when you start to turn, you've got something to push down into, because otherwise the pose does become very wobbly. Okay, other side now. Right foot out, left foot forwards. Pelvis facing towards your chair. Keep pressing down into the front big toe mound and inner heel. Again, don't let that become light. So these two bases, the spiraling action on the back leg to stabilize and anchor down with that back leg heel. It's almost as though you're screwing the back leg heel into the ground. Tailbone long and heavy, chest lifted. So keep drawing back on this front leg as we come forwards. Keep pressing into the back leg heel, whether it's up onto a foam pad or onto the floor. Extending your collarbones and breastbone forwards. Now keep that length in your spine. Put your right hand where your left hand was onto your chair. Your left hand comes onto your sacrum. Now, as we turn, we don't let the back leg hip drop. We keep the back leg pelvis just as it is. Keep looking into the center of the back of your chair as you roll that top shoulder up and back. Extend into the back leg heel. Breathe, fine inhalation, exhalation. Lift your front leg, kneecap, thigh muscle. Press into that big toe mound of the front foot. Okay, and releasing and stepping forwards and stand again in your Tadasana. So we come back to Tadasana, the fundamental standing pose, to restabilize, to re-establish. Alright, so we're going to come now for a chair Bharavajasana. Some of you will have already done this at the beginning of the class, because the seated classic Bharavajasana may not have been accessible to everybody with knee problems, but we're all going to work like this now. So you can use a kitchen or dining chair for this. You're going to place your hands and turn. So on these yoga chairs, they're a bit slippery, so don't let yourself swivel on the chair. We have to keep this area stable. So have your feet together, spread your toes, knees together, weighted down into the pelvis, lifted in the chest. Get the length and extension in your spine. Feel the abdomen moving back into that pelvic bowl. So keep the pelvic bowl upright. Don't tip it forwards. So you're not sitting on the gluteal creases, you're sitting on your sitting bones here. So inhale and lift, grab hold of the back of the chair, exhale and turn. So keep on lifting and turning. Let the shoulders be soft, let the sides of the neck be soft and long, don't overturn your head. Inhale and lift, exhale and turn. Alright, releasing, and we're going to go to the other side now. So I'm just going to turn around on my chair, pressing down with the feet, lifting up with the spinal column, sitting back into your pelvis. So we don't want this lumbar area to push forwards. We're keeping, it's as though that area is being filled out into your spine. So grab hold of the back of your chair and inhale and lift, exhale and rotate. Keep your knees level. You can tell if you're slipping on your chair, if your right knee has started to slide back. So turning to the left. We're not forcing the body here, just encouraging this movement. But again, don't turn your head too much. And releasing. Okay, well done.